4 and 10% of their annual income just on kerosene that they burn to generate light. Now, so that's a very interesting situation where you have all this poverty, and yet there are all these sort of signs that things are starting to change. If you look at Africa right now, you've got a huge prevalence of cell phones, where in Tanzania right now you have basically 97% of the population saying that they have access to a cell phone. And the secret for how that happened is that in many of these countries, they basically skipped the entire wired sort of like infrastructure altogether and went straight to wireless. So they now have wireless access to their cell phones, and that's a wonderful situation. But one of the big problems right now is that only 10% of the population have any access to power. So what we need really is some form of wireless power that's democratic, decentralized, and can be distributed in these areas. So there's various different approaches such as solar and biofuels, but they're all very expensive. What we at Potenco are exploring is what can you do with human power? So taking the energy that is in the human body and allowing basically people to convert that into electric energy that can be then used to sort of charge small-scale electric devices. So we started thinking about this problem, and we looked at a lot of the sort of ways that you can extract power from the human body. And the real trick is that you need to basically create large-scale human motion. You need to have sort of large muscle movements that will give you sort of significant amounts of power at any point in time. So the solution that we developed is called basically a pull-string generator. So you have a dynamo that's inside this device, and as you pull on the device, you're generating electricity. And you basically keep doing this over and over again in order to charge up electric devices. Now, one of the great features about this is that it's very powerful. You can get a lot of power out of it. It's very bioefficient, very ergonomic. People can use it for a long period of time. And in addition, it has all the other sort of like nice features that you're looking for: low noise, portable, quiet, and ultimately cheap. So if you actually look at sort of the numbers on this device, for 1 minute of pulling, you can get roughly 30 minutes of talk time on a typical cell phone. You can get 60 minutes of lighting for an indoor environment. You can charge up your shuffle. You get about basically 1 song per pull on the device. And what this device creates is an interim power infrastructure in these regions. Now, obviously, the ultimate solution is you want to have grid power going to all these different regions, but it's really expensive to do so. And there needs to be some form of solution that allows people to jumpstart. So this is really what we're proposing. One of the first sort of like customers that we're sort of like developing this technology for is the $100 laptop. So we're providing basically the power infrastructure that allows these laptops to be distributed to countries like Nigeria and Thailand, Bangladesh, etc. In addition, we're branching out into a whole bunch of other areas. One of the big sort of early products for us in Bangladesh is doing LED lighting. So rather than burning kerosene, people can basically pull on this for a minute and then have an hour of LED light inside of their home, which is much higher quality than kerosene and doesn't have any of the adverse health or economic effects. In addition, we're also looking at cell phone charging, especially in Africa, where you can basically create whole new economies where people have access to cell phones in these regions where they weren't able to sort of use them before, which enables sort of like online mobile banking and information communication. It entirely opens up people's minds. And then also, there's a huge impact on health and medicine because you now can run medical diagnostic equipment, you can refrigerate vaccines. It has just sort of very large scale impact. In this particular picture, you can see that there are power lines, but the generator in this community actually failed, which meant that they couldn't actually run their hospital. So the final sort of example is that we were recently in Morocco actually testing this device. I went for 11 days, basically existing off the grid, just powering everything using this device. The people there loved it. We're really, really excited about sort of getting this out into the world, and I thank you very much for your time.